Hello and welcome to Friday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic. And today's puzzle has actually been requested by a very good, dare I say, world-class solver who wants to see whether we can do a logical solve of this puzzle, which I suspect means that they were able to solve it but had to bifurcate. Now this is undoubtedly going to be a challenge, I have to say, and I say that because this puzzle is by SirWoezel. And it's 5 out of 5 stars for difficulty, so it's as hard as it comes. And that's why I'm recording this video slightly earlier in the day than usual, in case I muff it up, basically. And I have read the rules twice now, and there's a good chance I'm going to muff it up. Anyway, before we get started with that, a couple of things to mention. Do have a look at our Sudoku puzzle hunt, which has just come out over on Patreon. A couple of days ago. It's by Stefan Bura and Akash Jain. It has been getting the most incredible feedback, some really wonderful community engagement as well. There's a lot of people over on the Discord server all trying to crack it. And I love the comment of somebody who wrote, "After hours and hours of work, I was able to complete the hunt. It's a masterpiece," which is exactly what you should feel about something of this quality, I think, once you've finished it. It's called Tracking the Cryptid. And do have a look. And in fact, I'll read out the names of the new solvers who've managed to solve it in the last 24 hours since I recorded yesterday's video. So well done to Tom Walker, Benjamin Cotter, Dennis, Matthew Ender, and Pankaj Kansal. I'll also give a shout actually to Tyler Hinman, whose name some of you might recognise as the 5-time American Crossword Puzzle Tournament winner and the star of one of my very favourite films, Wordplay. He amused me by sending in the answer to Scott Strozal's puzzle hunt just today. So that puzzle hunt came out a couple of months ago, and it's probably the only thing that Tyler has finished late in his life. Also amusing me over on Discord actually was this. Where was this? So I'll tell you the story. Somebody, the moment Mark releases a video, hits dislike on it. We don't know who it is. We don't know why they do it, but they seem to do it very religiously. And there was speculation as to who this might be. And the Discord guys concluded they wanted to make this picture of the Scooby-Doo gang unmasking the culprit, which looks a lot like me. It's not me, you rotters. No, it's not me who's doing this, but it did amuse me that you thought it might be. Anyway, let's get back to this one. Now, we've got some rules for this puzzle today. Let me read them to you. We've got normal Sudoku rules apply. Normal Killer Sudoku rules apply, i.e. digits don't repeat in cages, and the digits in a cage add up to the number given in the top left cell. The entire grid has to be filled with cages. Each must be at least 2 cells large. The sum of a cage may already be given. Question marks indicate an unknown sum, which may be any number of digits. You can see some of the cages here have question marks in them. The sum of each cage is given in the leftmost cage cell of the highest row in which the cage makes an appearance. Okay, well that's normal Killer Sudoku. Every cage must contain exactly 1 circle, right? And the digit in the circle is equal to the size of the cage, which is a sort of Philomeno type rule. I think that's why this puzzle is called Philomeno-ish Killer Sudoku. Now this last rule is baffling to me because I'm quite surprised you can make a grid with this constraint. But anyway, I'll read it to you. 2 different cages with the same size may not share a row or a column. What? So that means, if this cage was a 3-cell cage and did this, there could be no other 3-cell cages in rows 2, 3, and 4, or anywhere else in column 6, which I can see getting incredibly constraining. So you can see what I think these sort of square cages are indicating is that these are the starting positions of the various cages that we need to place. So somehow we're going to have to build up the cages, always remembering that. Now, actually, let's use this one as an example and think about this cell. This cell here, this yellow cell, can't be part of this cage, because if it was, this cell would be in the top left-hand position of the cage, because obviously it's more left and it's on the same height as this cell. So if you ever study a Killer Sudoku grid, you'll find that always the cage total is given in the leftmost top cell. So we're going to have to use that restriction somehow to build up all the cages in this puzzle and then solve the Sudoku. And it's a brilliant idea from SirWoezel. I'm just a bit perplexed about that last rule, I have to say. But anyway, have a go. The way to play is to click the link under the video. Now I get to play. Looking forward to this one. As always, let's get cracking. And I've got to make sure I put a circle in every killer cage. So some of them have already got circles in them, but that one doesn't. So right, okay, so this one, if I'm understanding the rules correctly, it can't obviously overlap with another cage, so it's got to come out this way, and then I don't know where it goes, but it's got to at least take those cells, so I think we're going to be colouring again today. These squares have got to be part of the same cage. Now this cage here, this is the start of a cage, and you can see that it hasn't got a circle in it, so it's got to go downwards, so those two have got to be part of the same cage. And that pen's in the purple one. So the purple one now can only go to that square, so it gets a circle, and now it can finish, or I suppose it can carry on. Although, hang on, every cage has to be at least 2 in size. So this one has to be, it can't go left, remember, because if it goes left, this would be part of the same cage. So it must go down. And this is a 41 cage. So this has got to go down, and then it must turn right. It must get a circle. It can't overlap with another cage, so it's got to do something like this. What colour shall I use for this? I might use orange. And a 41 cage, that has to be at least 7 cells and possibly as large as 8 cells, because we know that a 9-cell cage would contain all of the digits from 1 to 9 and would add to 45. So a 41 cage, it could be missing a 1 and a 3, or it could be missing a 4. But that's all it can be missing. Now, I suspect there are going to be a lot of pregnant pauses in this puzzle. This is clearly not going to be straightforward. What do we do next? Do we know anything about that one? See, that one could go down or it could go right. It's not restricted on its left side. So I think yeah, maybe that one. Because this can't come here. It can't go upwards, so it must go downwards. So those have got to be part of the same cage. 44 cage here, good grief. So this is an 8-cell cage. And it can't take that square. So again, we can come downwards from this one. But then it could do something absurd like that. That would be fine, because it's never, this is still the top leftmost cage or cell in the cage. Although that, the 36 cage can't go there, and it can't go right because it's got another cage total starting there, so it must go down. So those two are a cage, and that might actually bound this one in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, okay, so we know this is at least 8, so it's got to go 6, 7, 8. It's got to go down into the bottom right of the grid. And this one now can't go that way, and it can't go right, so that one goes downwards as well. This is fascinating. Okay. Now what does this mean? I think I'm not sure what the best way is. That one has to be a 2, because the circle in each cage is recording the size of the cage. Remember the rules of the puzzle. So this is a 2. This square has to be a 7 or an 8, because we know that's the size of the 41 cage. This one, well, we know it's at least a 5, but it could be, it could be a 9. 5, 6. can't come to that cell though. That cell sort of feel like this one and this one have to connect, but I'm not. See, if it wasn't this one and this one, what could get to that? Could that? I'm not sure anything else can get to it. I'm not sure about that, but it does feel to me like that one's got to join with that one. Good grief. Okay, so this one already has a circle in, so it can't take another circle. It can't go left because then that wouldn't be the top cell of the cage. So this one has to come downwards. Let's put in another start of a cage. One, two, three, four. The 44 hasn't found a circle yet. So it has to find a circle within 8 cells. Now that one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I can't get to it by zipping under the purple. If I go over the top like that, that's too many as well, I think. And anyway, it would isolate this circle. So this circle, I think, has to be part of the green. And therefore, and we get an 8 then. That's got to be an 8 because we know the 44 is of size 8. So this circle, what is that part of? Is it that one? Or is it? It can't be that one, can it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, it could be that one. No, it can't be that one because what goes in there? What cage reaches the top right cell of the grid? The answer is it's got to be a cage that starts in the top row, and it can only be this one. This one can't sort of, as a wall of, well, I don't think. Well, it just can't get there. It's too many cells. That's 9 cells large, and also it's not giving this the opportunity to get a circle. So that one is forced across here, and now this one can't be reached by that one. 11 is too far away. Nothing else can reach this one. That one? Oh, actually, maybe this one can. Oh, good grief. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Well, that's interesting, but this is an 8. So this is where this starts to get confusing, because if I understand the rules correctly, 2 different cages with the same size may not share a row or a column. So this simply cannot be part of a cage of size 8. But I guess it could be part of a cage of size 9, and that would allow us to reach this cell. The 36 has to be at least 6 cells large, but it could be as many as 8. But it can't be 8 because of this. So this one is restricted. That's a 6 or a 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This one, a better way of thinking about it might be to say, rather than can this one reach there, and maybe it can, but what circle can go with that one? Bearing in mind this can't go up ever, because then that would shift where the cage total needed to be shown. So this one and this one are connected that way, aren't they? That's the only way we can do that. Now, I'm running out of colours here. I'll make those grey, I think. So that means that one's got to come up, because it can't come underneath and all the way around there. Now, what on earth do we do next? This cell. What part of the grid is that connected to? It can't be in the 21. It can't be reached by this. It can't be reached by this, because that would have to come down and underneath, and that would be too large. So this one and this one are connected. Not perhaps the biggest and most important deduction ever in the history of Sudoku, but something. This square, that could be orange. It could just drop in like that, although that would be interesting in terms of the green. Because again, if this drops into this row, it would have to be a 7 because of the it would then share a row with a cage of size 8. Jeepers creepers. Now, maybe we can do more in the top though, because this one hasn't got a circle yet. Now it can't get that one. If those are connected, the green hasn't got a circle, so that doesn't work. It can't get that one, that's already in the 11 cage. It could get this one maybe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I can't see why it can't get that one. This one, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6, 6, 7. No, it would have to come through. Right, that's nice. So it can't get this one. If it got this one, it would have to connect vertically like that. And then the red one can't get a circle. So in fact, this one is blue. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Bobbins. Look, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It could come that way, or that way, or this way, or that way. It could do anything. The 11 has got its circle. Now, just wondering, this can't be, this has to be a 3 or a 4, because it can't be a 2, and it can't be greater than size 4, because you can't make 11 up in 5 cells. The minimum you could make 5 cells at up to is 15. Now, that's rather clever, actually. Think about this. Can't be 4. This can't be 4, because if it's a 4, I've got to make 11 in 4 cells, which I can't do because 11 in 4 cells is 1, 2, 3, and 5. So this is not 4. So this is 3. That is a 3. That's beautiful. So it's beautiful and useless, but it was beautiful. Is this meant to be telling me something, that this is a 3? This cell could still belong to the 11 or the blue. Don't know. So that one is now red. This one needs a circle. Okay, good. So we get another deduction. Now if that's red, because nothing else can reach it. Obviously the green can't go higher, or the green's total square would have had to move up into row 4, column 9. So this one is at least 4. This one is big, isn't it? This one is big. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is at least 7, but can't be 8. And it can't be 8 because this is definitely sharing a column with this 8 cell cage. So, sorry, it can't be 8. It's got to be 7 or 9. The 44 is now... This is penned in by this grey. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It needs to be of size 8. It can't take these squares, so we get 2 more greens. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, beautiful. Where does 8 go in box 9? It can't go here, because this is definitely... Well, this is actually a 2 or a 3, I think, in this square, because the purple region can either come here or stop here. So this is 2 or 3. The 8 can't go here, it's in the same column. The 8 can't go in any of the green cells because it would repeat in the cage. So the 8 is in one of those 2 cells. Now that can't be an 8 because it would then share a row and column with another 8 cage. So the 8 goes here. The 8 must be in one of those 3 cells. This is really lovely. This is just really classy setting. This is a 44 cage, so it doesn't have a 1 in it. So where does the 1 go in box 9? It can't go in the green. And it can't go there, because that would be saying that the grey is of size 1, which is impossible. So the 1 must go here. Good grief. Now let's carry on with some Sudoku here. This is a 2 or a 3. Now this square has to appear in the green because the green is only missing a 1. Now so whatever is in this square has to appear in one of those squares in the green, which means it's going to be thrown into one of these 2 squares in box 3, and it can't go in in this square because there's a 2, 3 in the row. This must be deliberate. So that's a 2, 3. Now that is a very hard earned pair of digits. Which I don't know what to do with that. Apologies if you're seeing what I need to do with that, but that felt so beautiful, the way those 2 3s were locked out of this cell. I don't know. Not sure. Now, this one already has its circle. Ah, here we go. Here we go. Which circle does this one take? Well, it can only take that one. This one's to the left of it, so if it was like that, this cage total would have to shift over here. So these 2 are in a relationship with each other. And that means this red one needs a circle. It can't have that one, so that must turn red. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is at least a 5 for this square. It can't be 8 because it sees that square. $21. Just wondering if it has to drop down a cell. I think it does, because if the 21 was just a 3-cell cage and just did this would have to be a 3, and then it couldn't add to 21 because 2 cells would have to add up to 18. So this must drop down 1 cell at least. I'm not sure if that matters. It might affect what the reds can do now. So the 21 can never be of size 3. It doesn't matter in what direction it goes, it just can't. So this is at least a 4. And a maximum of a 6, because 21 can't be bigger than 6. 6 is just possible with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. So maybe that's what I need to do. Maybe I need to go through the grid and think about what the sizes are of all of these potential regions. Because presumably this whole thing about cages of same size not being able to share rows or columns must be an enormous restriction. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, but doesn't... Yeah, here's something. This has to be a 9, because if this region here is of size 7, it would have to look like this. Now it's complete, but that means both of those have to be red. But this can't be red, because it's a higher leftmost cell than this one. So if this is in, this is also in, and it's not of size 7. So actually, this, well, I don't know whether that square's in or not, but I do know that this is not a 7, this is a 9. That means that's not a 9. I was about to say that means that one has to be blue, but I don't think it does have to be blue because the 11 could do that. Good grief. Okay, so come on, think. Okay, look at the grey. What can this be? this, it has to be at least 4 because it has to connect to this. So it's at least 4. It could be 5. It could be 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It can be as much as 7. That is not as restrictive as I was hoping. 6, 7. The 19. Well, 19 can't be done in 2 cells. It can't be done in 3 cells because there's a 3 above it. So this is restricted. Yeah, this is a 4 or a 5. It can't be a 6 because 6 must be at least 21. We've already thought about that. So this square is more restricted than I thought. 6, 7. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, this one. Does this have to take this square? Hang on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, I think it does. That's interesting. Oh my goodness me. That is interesting. It is interesting. It really is interesting. Now I've spotted something. What have I spotted? I have spotted that that has to be a 9 because, let me just check, I think this is right. If you look at this cell, this cell, this cell and this cell, they are what looks like it could be, in a mad world, in SirWoezel's world, a 4, 5, 6, 7 quadruple. Now, because I think I'm right, it's because this one takes this square, it sees those two cages. This one definitely sees the red cage. The red cage comes to this square, which sees the other 3 cages. These two obviously see both of them, so they all see each other's cages, which means they cannot be the same size. So these are a 4, 5, 6, 7 quadruple. But more importantly than that, this cell, which sees every single one of these cages, can therefore not be a 5, 6 or a 7. That is a 9. That is wonderful. So the red is of size 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it has to come down one more square, I think. Let me just double check that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, it does. Oh no, it could go there. Oh. Sorry, because I was thinking maybe that meant I could get this square, but of course it could just travel through that square. There's nothing to prevent that. So why does this matter? This 4, 5, 6, 7 thing, that feels absolutely gorgeous. That's going to restrict this one then. Because this one, look, this cell is seeing all of these cells. So it can't be 8, it can't be 9, it can't be 4, 5, 6 or 7. This has got, it can't be 1, so it's 2 or 3. 2 or 3 is a combination in the bottom row. This puzzle is ridiculously clever. It's ridiculously clever. Wow. Now, come on. Think. What does this mean? This feels like it's the whole crux of the puzzle to me. This is such a beautiful setup. This is a 9. So what's that ruling out? It's ruling out that this cage comes into this column because this is also a 9, but that's... If this one... That's... here's a clever thought. Here's a clever thought. The orange one. If the orange one comes into row 5, we know it can't be an 8. So it would have to be a 7. And that's going to mean this. Oh, this is good. This is good, I think, because, hang on, I just need to, let's just visualize this. So if this drops in here, we now know that this can't be an 8. So this is a 7, which means this can no longer be a 7. This would have to be a 6. But the thing is, this grey square is also seeing this orange 7 region. So this would have to be a 4 or a 5. And this has no value. It has no value because if this is a 4-5 pair, this looks like it has to be a 6, which it can't be because it already sees the 6. This dropping in to row 5 disturbs the ability of my 4, 5, 6, 7 quadruple to exist, and therefore this region never drops into this line. And it's of size 7 at least. It could be 8. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it has to continue. It's already got a circle. It has to go all the way to there. It might even go one more. But it definitely doesn't come down here. And it is... Oh no, we don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. It just does that. Or maybe more. Now what's that doing? That is hiving off these squares. Now, what do those squares belong to? They can't belong to green, they're too high. They can't belong to 36, they're to the left of it. So they have to belong to red. Those, oh, that's going to connect to red, sorry. I could make these grey as well, actually. Because look, this grey is definitely separated from this grey. So I'll make them grey. Which means that's grey as well, of course, because this is this and this were joined up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 6, 7, 8. So basically this square has to be grey because I need this 9 to connect to this region, and it can no longer connect underneath. For many reasons, not least that it would be a 10-cell cage. So that square's got to be grey. That slightly pens in my 21. Oh, and it does more for the... So the 36 now has to grow another cell downwards. That puts pressure on the 19. That's got to grow another one downwards. Okay. I feel I'm getting there. 33 minutes. Oh. I say I'm getting there. I've had half an hour on the puzzle. I've got, what's that, 6 digits in the grid, and I still feel I've got a mountain to climb. This circle. That's green now. I suspected that earlier, and now it's true. So what goes in this? This can't be a 2 or a 3. Well, it can't be a 2 anyway. It's of size 3 already. So it's got to be 4, 5. If it's 6, it would do... beautiful. It's not 6. Because if it's 6, it would have to take this square. It would have to take those 2 squares. Oh, unless it drops down here, maybe. Does that give us enough room? Maybe it does. It's getting awfully cluttered, though. It definitely can't take those 3 squares. That's very obvious, because this 3 would come across and the 9 wouldn't be able to touch this square. So it doesn't take those 3 squares. If it took those 3 squares, is that possible? Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, the 9 hasn't. Oh, the 9 could go through. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The 9 would have to come. I'm going to have to look at this, sorry. So the 9 now has to do that and has to do that. So this would be a 6. And is that going to break this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, this has to be a 7 and sees this, which means this has to be a 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And it, yeah, this is a 6. And this has no possible value. The 6 and 7 are eliminated. That is horrifically difficult. So this square is 4 or 5 then. I know one thing it's not. It's not 5, because that's 5. Once this becomes green, it pens in that region. That's nice. Okay, so that one there, I want to make a 5. That one there is a 4, therefore. Now, what's that doing? That means one of these two is green. And oh, I've just had an interesting thought. I've just had a very interesting thought. Is it possible? What? Right, here's my thought. What do all the circles in this puzzle add up to? They must add up to 81 because the whole grid is covered in cages. But I actually know the value of an awful lot of I might not know what the order is of those 4 cells, but I know they add up to 4 plus 5 plus 6 plus 7. I know these two, I don't know which order they're in, but they add up to 2 plus 3. So I should be able to work out the value that these two cells have to have by adding up everything else. So 4, 5, 6 and 7 is 22, 27, 44, 44, I've used that one in my 4, 5, 6, 7, so 44, 53, 56, 60, 67. These two have to add up to 14. Oh, that's gorgeous. These two have to add up to 14. Well, we know what the order is then. We can never put 7 in here because that will repeat the 7 in this circle to make 14. This has to be 8. This has to be 6. Well, that feels an enormous breakthrough, but it's done nothing. This therefore takes another cell. This, it can't take those cells. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 must take at least one of those 2 cells. Does that matter for the grey? Yeah, okay. So this 6 has to take one of those 2 cells at least, and whichever one it takes, it will see this cage. But if it takes that one, it sees the cage in the column. If it takes that one, it sees the cage in the row. So that can't be a 6. Let's get rid of that. We've almost got this down now to something manageable. And I have a horrible feeling that loads of these cages are seeing each other, and I'm just not spotting how they're doing it. So I'm really not sure where to look either. It'd be really useful to know what this one was. There's a way of knowing that. Well, not knowing that, but there's a way of ruling out 7 from the grey. Because if this is 7, it has to take every white cell it possibly can. So it would have to take all of those squares would become grey. Actually, let's do this. You can now see what the problem is. The 19 would have to extend one more, and now the 36 can't get to a size of 6. So this is not 7. And that is useful. Yes, it is useful, because now in my weird 4, 5, 6, 7 quadruple, I have a 4, 5 pair. So that one is a 6, and that one is a 7. So we did get the value of this, and this 7 means the... Oh, lovely. The red can't get to 7 if it just takes those squares, so it must take one more. This must be of size 4. That must take one more. That locks in the value of this one as a 2, which means that one is a 3. It means this is of size 4. This is of size 5, therefore. And all of a sudden we've got progress. I've filled in all the circles, which is pretty clever. Filled in all the circles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, this is the one where the 9 could come through the circle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this square is green because the 9 can't get to it and nothing else can get to it. This square has got to be grey because the grey has to have 5 cells. It can get that one, but it still needs that one. It might take this one, it might take that one. We don't know which. Or so I don't think we do. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm not sure how we'd know that. Wow. This is not an easy puzzle. That is for certain. This is... Oh no, I was about to get another digit there, but this cursor was eliminating... So this could just take both of those as red. Or is there a way I can count the white squares at the top now, actually? That's not a stupid thought, so let's think about that. This needs to be a different colour. I'm going to make that colour purple. Nothing else can see that one. It's purple. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. White squares there, possibly 9 with this one. And I've got, what have I got left to fill? I've got, one of them is taken with the green, so that's 1. One of them is taken with the orange, that's 2. 2 of them are taken with the purple, that's 4. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 3 of them are taken with the 9, that's 7. And 2 of them, oh, not the microphone. Sorry, 2 of them are taken with the red. That's 9. So that means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This square cannot be grey, because if it is, I don't have enough real estate for all of the cage totals I need. I'm just going to double check that if you don't mind. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 is the absolute maximum. I've got 1 more for this one, 1 more for this one, 2 more for this one, 4, 3 more for this one, 7, 2 more for this one, 9. Yeah, okay, so that one's grey. That's beautiful because that means that one's red. This can't be purple, because that would be higher up, so that's purple. This could still be grey or red. I don't know. Oh, but it has bounded my 9 now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, so we get another 9. We get another grey here. That means the green must drop down. This square can't be reached by anything other than green. Here we go. Oh, we're still... So now, if that's green, that would go grey, that would go red. If this is grey, That would go red, that would go green. Bobbins, it's not resolved. Let's come over here again. Maybe we can figure it out by looking at the top of the grid. So what have we got to do here? We have got to figure out how to connect. I've had a thought. The 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 can't come round that way anymore because that will make the 4 impossible to fill. So the 9 has to connect. This 9 connects to this via these cells somehow. Which means this cell can't be purple anymore, because if we make those purple, now the 9 has to connect round here and the 4 is broken. Good. So this square now can only be blue. And now the 11 can get one cell here, can't come there, so it must drop down one. So it takes this square. And still that 2, 3 up there hasn't been useful. I don't know what to do now. This one can still take that square, that's absolutely fine. 4, maybe I've got to do Sudoku now. 4's got to be in one of those cells. Let's do some Sudoku, see if we can spot. 3 is also in one of those squares. This is a 3-4 pair. No, it's not a 3-4 pair though, because rather beautifully, this square is in a 41 cage of size 8, which is missing a 4. So that's a 3. Oops, that's a 4. Okay. 21 in 6 must be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6. We've got the 6. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That square is a 3. It can't be 1, 4, 5 or 2. 3. 2 and 1 aren't in there, so this becomes a 4, 5 pair. This is a 1 or a 2. This, no, that could still be green because it could still be a 1. 4, 5. So this column now is a bit more restricted than it used to be. We need to put 7 and 9 in. 7 and 9 into the open positions. We can do that by Sudoku. 9 and 7 go in. 9 now must be in one of these two cells. The 41 cage can't have a 4 in it, so where does the 4 go in row 4 of the grid? Can't go here. Can't go in the orange, so must be in one of those two cells, which is, yeah, I know, it's useless. 19 cage. What's that? 12. These are adding up to 7 without being 3 and 4. So this is either it's either 2, 5 or 1, 6. Now, can we rule? Oh, we can rule 2 out of that one. 2. No, I can do better. The 21 cage needs to have a 2 in it. Now, I don't know where the 2 is, except I know it's in the bottom row of the grid, because it can't be here because of that 2. So there is a 2 in one of those two positions. I don't know which one is correct, but that does mean that this is not a 2 either, which means I can't put 5 in there. So this becomes 1, 6. There's a 2 in one of these two squares by Sudoku. If this is 1, 6, I can get 6 in the middle box. Let's put it in. I can get 1 into one of those two cells in the middle. 6 is in one of those 3 positions. 8 is here by Sudoku. Look, these 8s are interacting on the middle box. 3, 4. Now, hang on, I need to put a 9 in box 4. Now look, this grey region is of size 9, i.e. it's a 45 cage. So it's got every digit in it. So 6 is not. Yeah, but where does 9 go in this box? We can't repeat 9 in the cage, so 9 can only go there. Let's pick that one off. 9 is in one of those two cells now. 9 is in one of these two cells. Aha! The 44 cage comes to our rescue because that has every digit in it apart from 1. So you can see that the 2 and the 5 need to be in the 44 cage. Well, they can only be in those two squares. And although that's annoying and that I don't know where the 2 and the 5 go, because I don't seem to know anything about 2s and 5s on the left of the grid, I do know this square is not a 9 anymore. So that's a 9. That means there's a 9 in one of these two cells. 2, 5. There's a 5 in one of those two cells, and a 2 here. So this square is finally resolved. This became a 2 at the end of the day. That means 2's in one of those two cells. Right, okay. Now, where do we look next? That is the question. Can we... 36 cage. That's of size 7. It's missing 2 cells that sum to 9, therefore. And it's got a 4 and a 7 in it. So it's not missing 2, 7 or 4, 5. So it's missing 3, 6 or 1, 8. Well, it's missing 3, 6 then, because if there's a 3 and a 6 in this red cage, they couldn't go in this square because there's a 3, 6 in the box. So you'd have to put them both into this square, which is obviously impossible. So there's no 3 and no 6 in here, but there is a 1 and there is an 8. Now, do I know anything? I feel like I'm on the cusp of knowing something. So the 1... yeah. Oh, this is gorgeous. Where does the 1 go in this cage? Now, one possibility, it can't go in those squares because there's a 1 in one of those squares. So it can't go here. That's already a 4. It could go here. That's one possibility. If it's not here, therefore, it has to be there. But it can't be there because the 21 cage needs a 1 in it. And that 1 has to appear in box 7 because it's not there. So this cannot be a 1. So this is the 1 in the red cage. And that means not only is it a 1, it's a red 1. That's not a 1 anymore. It's a 1, 4 pair up here now. Let's put that in. Get rid of the 4 pencil marks. These two squares now have got to be 3 and 7 to complete the box. Which is surprisingly useless. But I want to come back to the shading now, because now this region is finished. So this square must be green. Therefore this square must be grey. And let's just check. 4, 5, yeah, we've got 9 cell grey region. This square's got to be a 1 or a 2 because it's part of the 6 cage, which has already got the rest of the digits in it. That 1, 2 pair fixes the 1 in this box, gives me a 6. Six has already made an appearance in the 9 cage, so those two aren't 6s, that must be a 6. These two squares have got to be 7 and 8. That's 8, that's 7. 8 must live in one of those squares. What a puzzle this is. This is an absolutely beautiful puzzle. This 7 fixes the 7 and the 3. I'm not sure. I think I had that 7 3 before and somehow didn't see the 7 there. That is abysmal solving, but hopefully you'll forgive me. I often find in some of these long puzzles, I almost seem to get tired. As my brain gets slower and slower. 2, 4, 5 into those cells. That's not 5. So I still need to put a 3 into one of those cells, I think. I don't think I know the order. Do we know about 7s yet? Not quite. So actually I can do this cell, can't I? Because I know what the complement must be for the 36 cage. The 36 cage has got everything other than 3 and 6 in it. So it needs a 2, it needs a 5, it needs an 8, and it needs a 9, I think. In fact, that means that square is a 2, because that square's seeing 5, 8, and 9. And now this square ought to be a 7 to complete the box, which is lovely. So we get the 7. We get the 7 up here by Sudoku. We get a 7 in... now we know which one of these is 7, because we can't repeat 7 in a 9-cell cage. So the 7 must go there. It doesn't lock the 8 in, but it's still useful. Now, this square must be a right-in. That square's got to be a 6. That means that square's a 6 by Sudoku. Still don't know how that resolves itself. Don't even know what colour this is yet. This row, maybe? We still need 2 and 5 by the looks of things. I don't believe it. It's not resolved. 2 and 5. Well, at least that's going to give me this square. That's got to be a 9. So this column still needs 2 and 5. This column needs 2 and 5 as well. So that means because of this 5, that should be a 2. This should be a 5. This should be a 2. Is that helpful? Probably. Just can't see how yet. We must know this is an 8-cell cage, isn't it? So this needs everything but a 4. This cage needs everything apart from a 4. So it needs a 6 in it somewhere. Don't know where it's getting that. Still could get that from here by the looks of things. It needs a 5 in it It needs a 5 in it somewhere. Sorry, let me double check. It definitely needs a 5. Where does it get a 5 from? It can't get it from here because there's a 5 in the row. So it must get it from here. That must be orange. Now, does that help? Surely that helps. So this square now must be red. This square, oh good grief. I'm sure that there are a million ways of doing this faster than I'm doing it now. I'm sorry about that. I was sure that this would crack this top part of the puzzle open. It might do if I could... I can see the 11 cage needs 6 more. It could be that one, but I think it could be this one as well. That can't be 8. Let's go slower. Okay, so this has got to be 4, 5 or 9. It's got to be 4 or 9, therefore. 1, 2 here. Don't quite see how to resolve this. What do I know? I don't know enough. I must know enough about 6s. I just must know enough about 6s. How does this not get resolved really quickly at this point? And isn't it incredible that it doesn't? I mean, accepting the fact that I'm probably being slow about something, it's still amazing you can't just write this puzzle in at this stage, given how much has been involved in getting it to this point. Now, this column needs 5, 8 and 9 into those squares, so I'm going to pencil those in. You can see that the 9 can't go here. So this becomes a 5 or an 8. Is it something to do? It's going to be something to do with what the digits the 9 cage needs, isn't it? So the 9 cage needs to have, for example, it needs to have a 3 in it. Where is that 3 going? The answer is just about anywhere. Bobbins. Maybe I can come back to the 41 cage. Hang on, let's do the easy stuff. Because I've got 6 digits in that. I know it's not got a 4 in it. So it still needs to have a 1 and a 6 in. Ah, there you go. This is a 6. This is a 1. That's not 6, therefore, which means that's a 6 up here. That's huge, I can see, for one reason. Well, I can see in 2 reasons, actually. I've just spotted some 2s down here. But the reason I think this is enormous is now this 11 cage needs a 6 to complete itself in 3 cells. So that turns purple. That means that's got to be blue. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now this square can't be blue, so must be green. The only thing that can reach this is blue now. So that one becomes red, and I have coloured this grid. Now, 3, 4, and 8 into these squares. Yeah, we've tripped over the hour. These things happen. This is not easy, honestly. Okay. So maybe I have a look along this row. This square definitely can't be a 1. This can't be a 1. So this is the only place a 1 can go in the row. These squares have got to comprise 3 and 8. So the 8 must go here. The 3 must go here. So that was where the 3 went in the blue, that we knew there had to be a 3. 8. Oh no, we've done 8. So that's annoying. 1, 4, 2, 5. So in this box we still need 1. Let's get rid of the 8 there. It's annoying me. We need 1, 4, and 5. So 1 goes in the corner. The 4 and the 5, somehow it says... Well, actually now I've got a complete set in the 9 cage, apart from the digit that goes there, which must be an 8, which plonks the 8 in the bottom of the grid. Gives me a 5-9 pair at the bottom of the grid. It would be too much to hope that that was resolved, but that gives me a 5 up here, that gives me a 9 here, that finishes the 5 and the 4, that gives me a 4 here. These are 3 and 8, I can do that. Oh, please don't mess this up now. That's a 3. This is a 2. This is a 4-5 pair. Ah, the 2 is going to help me though. 2, 5, 5, 4. And slowly but surely we're getting there. This 1 fixes the 1 and the 4 there. So this should be a 4. That fixes the 4 and the 5. The 5 and the 9. This row needs a 9 in it still. And finally, I think I come down to 3 and 7. That looks good. It looks good. 7 and 3. And that is, I think, what I'd submit. Click. Oh, it says that doesn't look right, but why not? That might be I'm using new software, and maybe it doesn't understand what I've just drawn. The problem is I have no way of knowing whether this is right or wrong. I can have a stare at it. That's maybe what I've got to do. I'm just going to have a look at it for a moment and see whether I can see. First thing I'm going to check is, have I got any repeated digits? Because that would indicate a mistake. The answer, I don't do this quite as quickly as I've seen Thomas Snyder do it, but I'm not actually seeing a repeated digit, which is, I think, a good sign. Now I've got to check whether all the cages are 4. See, checking whether the cages are correct is going to be monstrously hard. That one hasn't got a 4 in it, which is a good thing. There's no repeat in this cage. There's no 1 in this cage. That does add up to 19. This does add up to 36. That does add up to 21. This is a 9-cell cage. It's got every digit in it. I think this might be right. I'm not going to celebrate prematurely. You'll let me know, no doubt. That's the best I could do. It's taken me a long time. but it is an absolutely stunning puzzle. Stunning. I loved it. That hour has flown by, and I wish I was clever enough to do it a bit quicker, but that's the best I can do. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic. Oh, and if I have made a mistake and I find it in my editing, I'll put a card on the screen. Wish me luck.